Hello, and welcome to Code the Dreams Learning to Learn series. Learning to Learn is a set of videos to teach you how to maximize the effect of your time spent learning so that you can be successful in Code the Dream courses or in any topic you wish to study. My name is Emily, and I'll be leading you through today's video. This video is on self-explanation. If you haven't already, please take the pre-assessment found at the link on the screen. This is not graded, it's simply for you and for us to see how much you already know about self-explanation as a learning strategy. You might know more than you think. Please pause the video and complete the pre-assessment, and unpause when you are finished. Thank you so much. So what is self-explanation? Self-explanation is simply explaining to yourself as much as you know about a topic after reading about a problem before working on a solution, or any time you learn something new. The goal is to help integrate new knowledge with the information you already know. I know what you might be thinking. This seems too simple. Will that really work? The answer is yes. In a study published in 2021, researchers studied the effects of self-explanation on understanding code. While students performed the same on a 6-question pretest, students who were prompted to explain code snippets to themselves while working performed better on the post-test than those who didn't. This video will teach you how to use self-explanation to deepen your own understanding while coding. Self-explanation can be broken down into 6 categories. The first is comprehension monitoring. Comprehension monitoring is your awareness of your own level of understanding. It's okay to say, "I don't understand what this means," when learning. Being aware of what you don't understand helps you identify what you may need to dig into to get to, "I see what this means now." Second is paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is restating information in your own words. Paraphrasing is important as it does 2 things. First, it helps fill in conceptual gaps, anything that is not explicitly stated. Second, it also helps you activate relevant knowledge from your long-term memory into your working memory. To use paraphrasing, in other words, it helps you retrieve information you already know from your memory into your consciousness to use while you continue studying. Third is elaboration. Elaboration is the process of making inferences that link what is explicitly stated to related knowledge. Elaboration helps facilitate deeper understanding. For example, we learned earlier that paraphrasing helps retrieve related information. So once we have retrieved this information, we can use it to elaborate. Fourth is logical inferences. Logical inferences allow you to make sense of new information without knowing a lot about the topic. While you may be new to coding, there are other experiences and knowledge that you have that may be similar. If you are not sure what something means, you can make an inference based on patterns you have seen before. Fifth is predictions. Predictions involve thinking about what might come next. Predictions are an excellent way to help you think more broadly about the goal of the program and what code might come next to achieve that goal. Sixth is bridging. Bridging is the process of linking ideas and understanding the relations between separate lines of code. You can think about lines of code as sentences in a paragraph. While you can read each sentence on their own, they make more sense when placed in context of the paragraph. Thinking about how the line of code you are reading links to previous lines will help you understand the code within the context of the program. I want to emphasize that you don't have to use all 6 strategies during self-explanation, and you may find yourself using different strategies as you progress. That's perfectly normal. These strategies are all tools you can use to help you learn. We will be doing an example using JavaScript. First, I will walk you through my own self-explanation of the first line of this code. Then, we will do the second line together. And finally, you'll do the last line. Let's get started. I'll go first. The line is var name equals your name. So, comprehension monitoring. I think I understand what this line of code is doing. I'm going to use the other strategies to confirm this. paraphrasing. In other words, this line of code takes the string your name and assigns it to a variable called name. Elaboration. I learned earlier that var is a reserved word in JavaScript used to declare a variable. The text after var, but before the equal sign, is the name of the variable. This means that the name of this variable is name. Anything after the equal sign is the value assigned to the variable. In this case, it is a string. I know this because strings are encased in single or double quotation marks. The content of this string is your name. The semicolon is used in JavaScript to denote the end of a command. This means that we are done with this line. Putting everything together I know, I can say that this line of code creates a variable called name and stores a string containing the words your name in it. Logical inferences. Based on patterns I have seen before, I think this looks like a math equation because of the equal sign. In math, an equal sign denotes that the values on either side are the same or interchangeable. Using this knowledge, I think that the variable name is interchangeable with the string your name. Predictions. In the next lines of code, I think we will use the name variable multiple times. Variables are usually assigned to be used more than once, so my guess is we will do that. Bridging. This is our first line of code in this program, so there's nothing to bridge yet. Let's do this next line of code together. For the purposes of this example, I'd like you to write down or type up your self-explanations. In the future, you don't necessarily have to do this, but I think that you will find it helpful during practice to document your thoughts, especially as code gets more complicated. Let's start with comprehension monitoring. How well do you feel you understand this line of code? Please pause the video and write down your comprehension monitoring. When you are ready to move on, resume the video. Welcome back. How well do you feel like you understand this line of code? I feel like I understand it pretty well, but it's okay if you don't. We'll figure it out together using the other 5 strategies. Let's move on to paraphrasing. Using the sentence prompt, in other words, how would you describe what this line of code does? Please pause the video and write down your paraphrasing. Welcome back. Let's go over my paraphrasing of this line of code. It's quite alright if your wording doesn't match mine. In fact, it probably won't. The goal is to restate the code in a way that makes sense to you. In other words, this line calls a function named alert and passes a string as a parameter. The string uses string interpolation to add the value of the name variable to the string. The alert function creates a pop-up dialog to the user and displays the parameter in the dialog box. Take a moment to reflect on my self-explanation and the one you came up with. Does yours have the same information? What keywords did you use that I didn't? Please pause the video and take some time to reflect. You may want to write down your reflection as well if that is helpful. Let's move on to elaboration. Using the sentence prompt, I learned earlier that. What have you learned that you can tie to this line of code? Please pause the video and write down your elaboration. Welcome back. Let's go over my own elaboration. It's quite alright if you don't have the same points of elaboration I do, or if you came up with something that I missed. This is just practice. I learned earlier that functions in JavaScript are defined as some text followed by open and closed parentheses. If there is anything in the parentheses, that is called a parameter. Second, alert is a built-in function in JavaScript that creates a dialog box on the web page displaying the data passed as the parameter when called. Third, Strings are defined by single or double quotation marks. You can add the value of a variable to a string using string interpolation. This is done by a $, an open curly brace, the variable name, and then a closed curly brace. Finally, a semicolon ends the line of code. Take a moment to reflect on the points of elaboration I covered and ones you have come up with. Did you miss any? Why might you have missed them? Did you come up with some other ones? What made you think of them? Please pause the video and take some time to reflect. Let's move on to logical inferences. Using the sentence prompt, based on patterns I have seen before, what can you infer about this line of code? Use any knowledge you may have. It doesn't have to be code related. Please pause the video and write down your inferences. Welcome back. Let's go over my inference. It's fine if you don't have a similar inference. We all have different knowledge in other areas. Based on patterns I have seen before, I think this line of code looks similar to code written in Python. My very first programming language was Python, and the syntax is very similar. If I was unfamiliar with JavaScript, I would still think this line of code looks like a function being called with a string parameter because of the similar syntax. Take a moment to reflect on the inference I made and the ones you came up with. How do your inferences help you understand this line of code? Please pause the video and take some time to reflect. Let's move on to predictions. Using the sentence prompt in the next lines of code, what do you predict will happen next? Please pause the video and write down your predictions. Welcome back. Let's go over my prediction. In the next lines of code, I think something big will happen. Alerts cause the whole web page to be inaccessible until the alert dialog box is closed, so they're used sparingly. Take a moment to reflect upon my prediction and the one you came up with. Don't worry if you didn't predict what I predict, or even if your predictions turn out to be wrong. The goal is to reflect what you know so far and make an educated guess. Lastly, let's move on to bridging. Using the sentence prompt, using the previous lines of code, this line is able to. How does this line of code tie into the program so far? Please pause the video and write down your bridges. Welcome back. Let's go over my bridging statement. Using the previous lines of code, this line is able to display a personalized message to the user. The name variable used in this line is defined in a previous line and could be changed to anyone's name, allowing the alert dialog box to address the user directly. Take a moment to reflect upon my bridging statement and the ones you came up with. What did you bridge that was similar? What was different? Please pause the video and take some time to reflect. Congratulations! We've now finished using self-explanation on the second line of code. Now it's your turn. Please go to the link on the screen. The first question asks you to use self-explanation on this line of code. You can use all or some of the strategies we learned today. Please pause the video while you work. When you have finished with the first question, please resume the video. Welcome back. Thank you so much for watching our video on self-explanation. We hope it was extremely useful. Please take some time to complete and submit the rest of the post-assessment. In addition to giving you credit for completing this course, we also want your feedback. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.